Hey, it's Roy Calvin here for another episode of You Don't Know Anything About Women. Let's get into our first post. What do you text someone in between the first couple of dates? I had a first date with a woman I met on Saturday, and we made tentative plans for the second date next week. She's an introvert and doesn't seem to be huge on texting. She's active on the dating apps, and I want to make sure I stand out from the others to build a connection. I'm interested in her after all, so what are some things I can text her with until I see her again? I realize I either didn't learn much about her or I forgot half the things she told me on Saturday, and that's on me. I'm going to keep notes from now on so this specific situation won't happen again. The reason I want to keep a note is because a friend of mine has a bad memory like me, and when he was meeting different girls for the first couple of dates, it's hard to remember everything, so it's better to write things down and not mix one person up with another. Well, I don't text very much in between the first couple of dates at all, and I just kind of think you're worrying way too much throughout your whole post, because you said the first date seemed okay, and you made tentative plans for a second date next week, so that's good. You're in there, and you say she's on dating apps. You want to make sure you stand out from the others. You've already stood out by getting her out on a date and her seemingly agreeing to a second one. So the hardest work is done, in my opinion. The hardest work is getting them out the first time. And it's not like your next date is, weeks or a month away. You're seeing her again next week. So there's not really much that needs to be said. The day before the date, I'll message and be like, okay, see you at this time at this place, just to confirm it and make sure I'm not wasting my time. I have noticed over the years that I really do think some girls will just assume the date isn't happening if you don't do that. If you don't remind them the day before, even though of course in my mind and in your mind, if you make a date, schedule it, okay, it's going to be this date in this place, then as a rational male, then that's it. But I think some girls are just well, okay, I guess we're not going there because I haven't heard from them since. So yeah, just send your text message the day before, confirm that everything is happening, and if she replies, then perfect. And if she doesn't, well, you saved yourself from wasting your own time and going there. You said that you want to stand out because she's on dating apps and everything, and yeah, there's a comment here that says nothing will make you stand out via text, and that's true. Keep the conversation for when you meet up. Again, this is a good situation. You got her out one time, you're going to meet her another time. You don't need to do anything in text. If anything, I think texting is a way that can make you fail at the date. She is more likely to become uninterested in you through text messaging than she is to become more interested. So yeah, for that reason, I really don't text that much at all. There's some people suggesting to let her know that you had a good time and you really want to get to know her. No, fuck all that. That's all lame. You don't need to do any of that. What really interested me about this post and why I wanted to talk about it is that he's saying how he wants to make notes from now on, which is something I definitely recommend. I kind of think I do it sometimes to a fault. I take too many notes. If I go up and approach a girl and whatever, we trade phone numbers, then right then and there, I will make a note of what we talked about. And it can kind of seem useless. And, especially when most of the girls won't even come out on a date with you, even after they trade phone numbers with you. So in that case, yeah, it seems like a total waste. But also, I kind of just think it's good for my memory, to keep my memory sharp. Okay, I just had this 5 or 10 minute conversation with this girl on the street. How much of it can I remember right now, right after? And same thing goes for dates, of course. Dates, it matters even more than just from a cold approach. Because, yeah, if you're dating a lot of girls, they can kind of begin to blend together. Definitely. I've definitely caught myself oh, I think this girl said that she likes this TV show. Oh, wait a second. No, I think this was that other girl. Or was it this other one? So for that reason, I do like to keep notes. After a date, especially, yeah, I will just write out what we talked about. And, there might be some ideas for future dates in there or things of what not to do. Just a good habit to be in. I use this certain app for years and years, which I stopped using, but now I use one called Standard Notes. It's free, and I like that. I can use it on my phone and just on their website. It all syncs together, so I can just make my notes there. It's much easier to type on my computer, so I can make the full note there, and I can review it on my phone later, make changes. So that's a definite tool that you need, I think, if you're dating a good amount of girls. Standard Notes, again, is the name of it. Okay, let's go on to our next post. She's still updating her dating profile after a month of talking. Am I being paranoid or is it a red flag? I matched with a girl on Hinge a little over a month ago. She got offered a job in my hometown and is moving here in a month or two. We've been texting for several hours every single day since we matched, probably 50 plus texts daily. We've gotten pretty in depth with our conversations, flirting, sending each other pictures of our days, selfies, songs and playlists, phone calls. We voice chatted while playing games online, daily good morning, good night texts every day. A few days ago, she flew into town to look for houses to rent when she moves, and we went on a couple dates in person while she was here. For the first week, she hadn't sent me a picture yet, so I would go back to her profile to see her pictures. A couple weeks in, I went back to her profile to check a song and realized she was still changing pictures and updating her bio. I didn't think much of it. Last night after she flew back home, I got curious and checked her profile again. Selfies she had texted me while she was in town that felt personal have now appeared on her profile even after meeting in person. I understand people talk to multiple people at once when they're looking to find someone to date. Doing it after a month of talking to someone seems off to me. Am I being paranoid? So we don't have the information, but I would kind of like to know how long she was in town and how many dates she went on with this guy. If it was like 1 week and she went on 4 or 5 dates with the guy, well, that's pretty good. But if it was like she was there for 2 weeks and saw him 2 times, she probably met up with other guys while she was in town. The guy's main question, is he being paranoid or is it a red flag? It's not a question of paranoia because I think you're right to be concerned, basically. If she's updating her profile, still changing her pictures, yeah, that means she's definitely open to meeting other people and that she probably is meeting other people or at least talking to them on the dating app. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I can't fault the girl for doing that. But for me, that would be a big turnoff for me. But also there's things that this guy did that I would just never do. I mean, I talked about in the last post about texting between the first and second date. He's saying that they're sending 50 plus texts daily, like before they even met. I can't even imagine doing that. It would just take up so much of my time for someone who I don't know if they're, I was going to say committed. I don't mean committed. I mean like at least committed to meeting up with me, right? Like 50 texts daily, that's an insane number. And the good morning, good night texts, it's just, God, I can't imagine doing that. I don't want to receive them. I don't want to give them. But yeah, you have a choice to make here. And I don't know, let me think about what I would do in this situation. But yeah, you can keep messaging her and meeting up with her when she's in town. But yeah, understand that she's probably doing the same with other guys. All you can hope for is that she's not banging any of the other guys. If it's just talking, it's like, okay, it's a bit better. But yeah, I don't know. And if you think that it's a red flag, then you can just cut it off with her, right? So yeah, are you being paranoid or is it a red flag? It's not paranoia because it's happening. And a red flag, it depends on what you think. To me, it is. I don't know. In that situation, I don't know. She'd have to be really hot probably for me to want to keep hanging out with her. So proceed with caution, my friend. Let's move on to the next post. Oh boy, this is a bad one. My friend wants to sleep with my girlfriend. How do I deal with this situation? I'm a 30-year-old man and I've been dating my girlfriend, let's call her Kayla, who's 24 years old, for 3 years now. We are both into gaming, and through that she's met all my friends, who are all guys, for context. All of us have gotten really close at this point, and she is a solid part of the friend group. We all live roughly an hour apart from each other and mostly hang out on Discord, but we try to meet up in real life once a month. She's played online with them when I'm not there, but she never hangs out with my friends in real life without me. Yesterday, the guys and I met up at my friend's place for game night because we all had the next day off, but Kayla didn't go because she had to get up early for work the next day. As usual, we had a few drinks and drifted into random conversations. Someone dropped the hypothetical question, if you could sleep with any person in the world, dead or alive, who would you pick, in a joking way. When it was my friend's turn, who's 23, let's call him Brian, turn to answer the question, he hesitated for a second, then he said, honestly, Kayla. I couldn't believe what I just heard, so I was like, wait, my Kayla? And he confirmed it. The room went completely silent after that. At first I was completely out of words, then I got kind of angry, so I left the situation to calm down. I would have driven home immediately, but because I was drunk, I just smoked a few cigarettes with my best friend. I admit my girlfriend is gorgeous, obviously. She has an alternative style / dark, and that has always been Brian's type. But I think it's still really disrespectful to say that, especially since she is not only my girlfriend, but also a friend of his. So I really don't know how to deal with this. I haven't told Kayla yet because I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable. Would telling her even be any good? Also, I don't know how to move forward with the relationship. If I cut off Brian, it would force our other friends to pick sides. Any advice is appreciated. Well, this is a messy situation. First of all, there's one detail in here. Just never mind the guy wanting to bang your girlfriend. But you say that you all live roughly an hour apart from each other. and you try to meet up in real life once a month. I hope that's not the case for you and your girlfriend of 3 years. Even if she lives an hour away, I hope you meet more than once a month. That would just be crazy to me if it's only once a month. So I'm just going to assume that that's wrong and you meet her more than that. But the way it's written is kind of confusing. So would I tell Kayla, my girlfriend? Yes, I would. I wouldn't really be a fan of telling her, but like the things that are going to come from this situation, like she's going to notice that something's up, right? Like you've got to, I'll get into it more in a minute, but you got to stop hanging out with this guy, obviously, and therefore possibly the friend group. So, Kayla's going to start asking you, hey, why aren't you going to hang out with those guys anymore? Why don't you play online with them anymore? She's going to know something's up, and I don't think you should lie and make up some kind of excuse. You're probably going to have to tell her what happens. And it's going to be good to see her reaction, probably. Likely, she's not going to be interested in the guy at all, I think. She's been with you for 3 years. You haven't told me any red flags from her in this post that you have a bad relationship or anything. So probably she won't care, and that will be good. Or, maybe her reaction, you might be able to see some interest in her eyes, or at least some, she might be flattered a bit, which could be bad. It's not even that you're like giving her a test and seeing how she reacts. It's like, this is a real thing that's happening, and you kind of got to tell her, and her reaction is going to be interesting to you. And you definitely got to stop hanging out with this guy. This is just not good behavior. Like, it's really bad that he answered your girlfriend. He could have named, like, a celebrity or anything. It's kind of like he's saying it, like, just to fucking piss you off, right? Of course, like, I doubt that she's the number one girl in the world that he would want to bang. So I think there's, like, some malicious intent in there. You also said you're worried about your friends will have to pick sides if you stop hanging out with this guy, Brian. I don't think you have to worry about that. Like, who in this friend group, they were all there, they all heard it, they all went silent after he said that. I don't think any of them are going to be like, yeah, Brian, it's okay that you said you want to bang our friend's girlfriend. Like, we're going to not hang out with that guy. We're going to hang out with you, Brian. I don't think they're going to do that. Could it be awkward? Yeah. Could some friends still hang out with Brian and still hang out with you? Yeah, but that's fine. If you like this girl, it's a 3-year relationship. It seems like it's somewhat serious, or she's only 24, so her mind could change too. But you definitely got to stop hanging out with them, and don't worry about your friends. Even if they don't realize right away, they'll probably come around. Brian has put himself in a bad position here. I remember like 10 years ago, I had this friend, and we don't hang out anymore. I forget the exact details, but for some reason I was asking him, like, man, like, you think my girlfriend is hot, right? Like, you would bang my girlfriend. And even then, like, we're all drunk, and I'm just, like, directly asking him. It wasn't any kind of fight or anything. We were all having a good time. But even in that situation, he just, like, wouldn't tell me straight up, like, yes, even though, of course, this was, like, talking to thousands of women, Roy Calvin. But still, I think my girlfriend was reasonably attractive for the time. Probably not someone I would date now. But even then, my friend would not just tell me, like, yes, I would bang your girlfriend. He's like, don't make me answer that. Stop. Because that's just what a good friend does. A good friend, even in that situation, directly being asked, they're probably not going to say, yes, I would do that. So the fact that just this guy gets asked, who do you want to bang? And he says, your girlfriend, it's just a shit friend. He's not really your friend. Yeah, you can't hang around with him anymore. And you got to tell your girlfriend, because she's going to know that something's up. Okay, going to move on to post number 4 for this episode. Can someone explain to me why I started getting much more interest from women using the casual approach? For the last couple of years, I've exclusively tried to meet/date women using the apps. Every once in a while, I'll cold approach, but it's rare since I don't get the chance to meet new people often. Typically, I had my Tinder and Hinge all set to long-term relationships and geared them towards something serious and wasn't getting much luck. I decided to try something different and take a more casual approach. Switched everything to casual or short-term with a couple unserious photos, and boom! I have more matches and likes than I know what to do with. I just find it bizarre how the world works. Every time I go to one of these dating subreddits, you see nothing but women claiming they swipe left on anything mentioning casual, short-term, or friends with benefits, but the results say differently. It's not like I was trying to force a relationship or was desperate. I was just stating what I was genuinely looking for. This is a bit of a mystery to me. I'm not going to pretend like I know the answer when I don't. There's a few comments here offering different opinions, so I just want to go through a couple of those and tell you what I think about them. One person's asking how the meetups turned out because he's had a similar experience, but a lot of them had a bad personality, which is like, okay, I mean, I understand that, but if you just want sex, then personality doesn't matter that much. matters a little bit. Another person saying that it could be that he filtered out a segment of the population, that he is mostly exhausted, and now by changing up his pictures and stuff, he's being shown to new people, and that these girls would usually swipe past him, but now they want to swipe on him. Also, the same person mentions it could be the algorithm. Those are all pretty viable, I think. There's one woman here. Now, remember what I say about women on Reddit. They don't know shit about dating. She says it might be that women think you're hot enough to fuck, but not boyfriend material. I disagree, because I don't think women base boyfriend material on someone's physical attractiveness. They would base if they're hot enough to fuck on that, but I don't think that women see like a certain face or some pictures and say, he's not boyfriend material. Maybe they do, because I think I do that with girls sometimes, but I think they'd have to be really suggestive and explicit for a girl to think, he's not boyfriend material, but I'll bang him. And I really think that most girls on dating apps are looking for a long-term relationship. There's very few that are looking for hookups. Even though everyone says that that's what Tinder is for, I don't really think that's the case. I don't think most girls are using it for that. And if a girl is using it just to hook up, like, that's just a total turnoff for me anyway. Not to say I haven't used it for that utility in the past, but in my experience, they're mostly looking for relationships. And, it's also not to say that sex on the first date won't happen. Of course that can happen. And I think girls kind of should do that if they want a relationship. So that same woman also says that if she wanted no strings attached sex, she'd swipe very differently than on guys for a relationship. It's possible. It's possible. It has to do with what's on the profile and the pictures, of course. I don't know if this guy is saying like he changed his text or his pictures. He says just a couple of unserious photos. Is that all that he did? I know that on Tinder you can also change, like, you can choose to state what you're looking for. They have a couple of pre-filled options of like short-term, open to long-term, or serious relationship. I don't think girls look at those or put any meaning into those. Like, girls just have so many options on there. I think they're only looking at your pictures. And then maybe the bio, like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20% of girls actually look at your bio. They'll look once they match with you, maybe. But I've even had girls on there, like, they match with me and I'll have something obviously stated in my bio, like how long I'm in town or how long I've been here or where I'm from. And they're still in there in the messages asking me, like, where I'm from. And it's like, okay, geez, even at this point, we've matched. They still don't even read my bio. So, yeah, I just don't think girls put that much thought into anything like that on a guy's profile, just pictures. And I don't really think that pictures can convey whether you're boyfriend material, to go back to that post. But I kind of have this theory that, like, having pictures that look too professional, we might be switching here. It might have been that you needed professional looking pictures for too long, and now we're kind of swinging around the other way. I know that now, of course, girls and guys think differently on dating apps, don't get me wrong. But I noticed that for me, like the most recent times that I was using dating apps, like, I don't like when a girl has professional looking pictures. I don't like that. I like when they're just normal. I guess that's kind of my type, even if I'm looking for girls who approach on the street. Like, I don't like girls that are like super done up and like look like they're about to head to the club. Like, I kind of like normal looking girls. So the kind of girls that I'm into aren't the ones that hired a photographer to take pictures of them at whatever fancy bar. Like, I like, this photo looks like their friend took it of them on a whim at like just a cafe or whatever. I like that. And so possibly girls are changing their opinions as well. Maybe they like more casual photos instead of these professional ones that guys have been told that they need to have in their dating profile for the past 15 years, which goes back to an earlier comment I read about, maybe a certain segment of the population has been exhausted for this guy. Now he's being shown to maybe these girls that like more casual photos. So whatever works. And just remember, man, I don't know what you're looking for. It seems like, I guess you are looking for a long-term relationship, since you say that's what you were looking for a long time before you made these changes. You can still search for that with this new profile that you have. Whatever gets you matches, like whether you want a relationship or to bang these girls, step one is getting them out right. So do whatever you have to do to get them out. Keep using this profile. And this is a quicker path to a long-term relationship than your old profile was, because now you're getting matches and therefore you can turn those into dates and relationships. So this is going to be a good thing for you. Don't really worry about too much. I mean, I've met girls who say they're looking for a long-term relationship with their profile, and then I have sex with them and they never meet me again. Of course, I mean, I think any guy who's dated as many women as I have that experience. So don't worry about it. This is a good thing. Let's get into one more post for this episode. If a woman insists on splitting or paying the bill, is that an indicator that she's not interested? I'm 28 and I've been on a few first dates over the past few years, usually girls between 25 and 28, and I've noticed a pattern. If my date splits the bill or even insists on paying the entire bill outright, it's almost guaranteed that she doesn't intend to have a second date. Is this a thing? And if it is, why? Do they not want to give the man the impression that they owe something to him? Mind you, before you say that it's supposed to be performative, I always push back when this happens, but they insist on it. I don't necessarily think in transactional terms, but I know a lot of guys do, so I suspect that women are trying to cover their bases in case things go wrong. Am I onto something with my assumptions? It is a bit of a complicated situation. First of all, I would say don't think too hard about whether they split the bill or pay it and if it relates to them coming out with you again. I think some people write these posts, I don't know about this guy in particular, but I think sometimes people make these assumptions after going on dates with like 3 or 4 girls. And it's like, really, what data can we collect and analyze from that? If maybe 2 offered to pay for the whole thing and they never saw him again, it's just not enough data to take from. But I can tell you what I've experienced from going on just hundreds and hundreds of dates. There's very little connection. I've had very few women try to pay for the whole thing, but it does happen, and I've not noticed any strong patterns from that. Now, apparently there are some guys who, if they pay for dinner and the girl doesn't bang him after, then they'll get pissed off or whatever, whether it's right in that moment or later on through text messaging, which of course is just a totally stupid thing to do. Not that it doesn't annoy me. Now, of course, I advocate for splitting the bill mostly, but there's been times where I've just paid the whole bill because I didn't stick to my own morals. I'm still susceptible to that sometimes, absolutely. And yeah, it does annoy me later on, like, fuck, this girl didn't even come home with me. And okay, now it's a few days later and she's not replying to my text message to meet again. Fuck, why did I waste that money? But that's why it's always important to go on dates that are within your budget. Or I guess budget's not even the right word to use. It's just like whatever you want to pay. Like, I can afford an expensive date, but I don't want to do that with a girl that I'm going on a first date with. I'll keep it very reasonable. Because like I said, I usually advocate for splitting the bill, but if I'm on a date with a girl who's like 10 years younger and a student, it's like, okay, I don't mind paying the bill in that situation. It's an amount that I can afford. So I would just say don't read into it too much. But yeah, there's some girls who want to pay because they don't want to feel like this is like a thing in like sales. Like, if you give something to them, to the customer, then the customer is going to feel like they have to like buy your product or whatever. It's kind of the same thing where a girl might feel, okay, fuck, he's paying for me. He's going to feel like I owe him sex, or I'm going to feel like I have to give him sex, but I don't want to. And there's no need to use that tactic, of course. When it comes down to it, the girl isn't going to have sex with you if she doesn't want to. So just try to split your bills, man. Try to split it, but if she really insists, say, okay, whatever, I'll pay for the next one, okay? But I think it's an okay problem to have. I mean, I think in a lot of situations, a guy would be more likely to ask, like, how can I get these girls to split the bill? I end up paying for everything, but you're kind of on the opposite end. You're like, how do I get them to not pay? That's not a terrible problem that you have. Let's say you go on a lot of dates and you really do decide, like 100%, when girls pay the bill, or even if they just pay half, they're not going to meet you again. Like, it's probably already decided. It's probably not that one moment where you let them pay or you let them split that they decide, yeah, I'm not going to meet this guy again. It's probably already decided before that. So that's just another reason to don't overthink the fact that they're paying. Like, it's probably already a done deal at that point. I don't think many girls are going to decide to see you again based on how that situation goes, because I think you handle it okay. Like, you don't seem like you're getting pissed off and making them pay. Again, you've got kind of the opposite problem that a lot of guys have. These girls want to pay. So just don't worry about it. Keep trying to split the bill. I've noticed zero correlation on who pays the bill and if I end up getting what I want from this girl. Okay, that's it for this episode. Make sure you go to the link in the show notes if you want to get in touch or support the show. See you in the next episode.